Hi guys, welcome back to a new Excel demonstration video. This is Will. In this video, I want to show you guys a bit of a more complicated use of the X lookup formula. So in this case here, right, say we had some items here, right? So items are nails, screws, hammers, and drills, okay? The nails, screws, hammers, and drills can either be purchased from shop 1 or from shop 2. If they're purchased from shop 1 or shop 2, they each have a different price. Okay? So if we had a list of shops and items here, right? And we wanted to know what was the price of this particular item if it was bought from shop 1, or drills, say, if it was bought from shop 2, then we would basically need to use the if equation that we saw in a previous video alongside the X lookup formula that we also saw in a previous video. Basically, the logic of what we would need to do is if we were looking at shop 1, we would have to pull some information from this shop 1 table here. And if we were looking at shop 2, we would have to pull some information from the shop 2 table, okay? So to do this, we're going to have to start off by writing the if equation, okay? So equals if, our condition for knowing which of these two tables to check is if we're looking at shop 1 or shop 2. So our condition can be equals the phrase shop 1. Okay. So now if it equals shop 1, then we know that we need to look up the value in this table. Okay. So the value of true, we're going to have to use the X lookup formula now to look up the value in our shop 1 table. So equals X lookup, open bracket, and now we're going to look up the value screws. Okay, so we're looking up screws. We're looking it up in the shop 1 list of items here. Okay, so we select that range. And again, remember from last video, we don't want this to move as we drag it. So we're going to hit F4 to lock it in place, or put some currency symbols around the letters and the numbers. Okay, I think it's function F4 for my Mac people. Comma, and now we're going to select the range of values here for the price. Okay, so this is the return range. This is the price of the item from shop 1. We're going to hit F4 again to lock it in place. Close bracket. Close bracket. Notice as we put the close bracket, we're now closing off the X lookup formula, and now we're back into the overall if formula here, right? So the value if true, right, of our if formula here is going to be the value that our X lookup formula returns. Okay. We're going to hit comma, and now we're going to specify the value if false. Okay. So the value of false is again going to be taken from the X lookup formula. Because if it's not equal to shop 1, because we only have 2 different shops here, if it's not shop 1, it must be shop 2. Okay. It might not always be the case for whatever you're doing. Maybe you have multiple shops that you need to take this information from. But for our purposes, where it's only binary, this works just fine. Okay. So we're looking up the value screws. Okay. The lookup array that we need to specify is this list of items here. Okay. So specify that list of items. F4, because we need to lock it in place, our lookup array. Okay. Comma. Now we need to specify the return array. So our list of prices here. F4 to lock it in place. Close bracket. And now notice we're back inside of the if formula. We've closed off the X lookup formula, and now we're back outside the if formula. To close off our if formula, we're going to need close brackets again, and then enter. Always a good idea, check to see if our X lookup formula has done what we need it to do, okay? We were looking up shop 1, the item screws. So let's go over to our table for shop 1. The item in shop 1 for screws is $1, okay? So it looks as though it's working. The other thing we need to check is as we drag it down, is it selecting the right values, okay? So let's do a random check of one of our items here. So shop 2, a drill, okay? It's saying it's $10. So if we go over to shop 2, we're looking for the item drill, and it is indeed, it's $10, okay? So that's basically how you would use these two formulas together. When you're going about completing the second problem-solving task, we can think of the code, or rather the superannuation type, right? Choice or my super, as being the condition we need to check at the outside of our if statement, okay? If it's equal to the phrase my super, then we would go in and look up the value that's in the my super table. If it's not equal to my super, then we would need to look up the value that's in the choice 50K table, okay? So I'll see you guys in the next video.